Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review White Men Can't Jump. And this is a remake of the 1992 film about a pair of basketball hustlers who team up to earn extra money. And this is directed by Cal Maddock. And instead of having, Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, we have Sinqua Walls as Kamal and Jack Harlow as Jeremy as our two characters. Kenyon Barris is one of the screenwriters on this film. And this is like the perfect example of why. Why did we need a remake of this? Calmatic just did a remake of House Party, and that was completely off the rails. I wish this was more off the rails because basically it just felt like a hollow shell of the original film. And I think the biggest issue is Walls and Harlow have nothing on Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. There's just no level of charisma or chemistry together that's anywhere near registering on the same level as those two actors did. And one of the biggest shames is the character that Laura Harrier plays, Tatiana, is nowhere near as interesting, fleshed out, or highlighted as Rosie Perez's character in the original film. And it's like, this movie is how many years after and it's remade? And usually you'll see a film from 1992 gets remade and has more of a spotlight for some of the female characters. No, this movie gets remade and shrinks the role and the layers to one of the female characters who's essential to the whole flow of the movie. And obviously they didn't make that character as much as a focus here, and they do shake things up a little bit. Calling these two a pair of basketball hustlers doesn't really make sense because they don't really hustle a whole lot in this. They're coming at it from a different direction. Both of them are former basketball stars, and what's weird is the whole title doesn't really make a whole lot of sense anymore because the whole entire thing was nobody thought Woody Harrelson could play basketball and he would shock people. Harlow's character Jeremy is a recognizable Gonzaga former athlete who just has knee problems, and Kamal's character is somebody who was supposed to be a star and his career got derailed from one particular horrible night. And it adds some emotional layers there, but these characters are considerably less interesting and don't really fit the whole hustle that really drove the story forward in the original film. And here there's motivations. They're just not as interesting. And this film is, the screenplay, there's moments where some of the supporting characters have some pretty funny lines, but overall, these characters are not as funny, they're not as engaging, they're not as well performed and brought to life in this film, and overall the screenplay is a lot less interesting. This film is shorter than the original film because it got some pretty interesting elements and just we're just going to go bare bones. This is going to look like this sheeny, made-for-TV kind of movie with no texture or anything from that perspective. And a whole soundtrack full of, let's just try to find as many recognizable songs as possible to just shove in here without having any kind of feeling of uniqueness or any kind of heart to it. This film lacks heart and lacks personality, and it just feels like a hollow, straight to Hulu rehash of a film that I got to watch for the first time recently that's actually really enjoyable, and this one just isn't. It's devoid of a whole lot of energy, humor, or any kind of interest and engagement. So in the end, this is a pretty hollow and pretty forgettable remake. But those are my thoughts on White Men Can't Jump. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.